At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger, Weather NorCal. It is Coffee with Krueger, and it is your Friday, December 20th. And of course, we're starting off with another foggy start to the day. And you know what? I think the fog should most likely burn off sooner than what we saw yesterday. You know, yesterday eventually we did see that fog burn off, but it took a while. And as a result, our temperatures only reached the mid to upper 40s. It's kind of illustrating what I was talking about even yesterday. Is it depends on when that fog burns off. It really solely depend on what those temperatures will end up doing. The longer it takes for the fog to burn off, the cooler the temperatures. The quicker it burns off, the warmer the temperatures. So I do anticipate it may be a little bit warmer out there and maybe even a little bit more sunshine for the valley later on this afternoon. Let's get you right to Krueger's Quickcast here for your Friday, December 20th. Yes, 5 days away from Christmas. We've got another dense fog advisory. Now, yesterday, it was allowed to expire at noon. Even though we still saw a lot of that fog out there, it wasn't as dense. It's what's known as lifting, right? The visibility increases, but we still saw that stratus deck, if you will, the gray clouds that we saw overhead through a good portion of the day. I still think we'll see that this morning, areas of dense fog. Some of that will turn over to just kind of that stratus deck I was talking about, just kind of the gray skies with better visibility. And then eventually, I think sooner than we saw yesterday, we'll eventually start to see some of that fog begin to burn off here as we take you into the afternoon hours. There's the visibility right now. We're anywhere from 0 to about 1 to even 2 mile visibility, although it looks like a little better on the east side of the valley, especially in Butte County here this morning. I'm getting other reports in Fort Jones, in Scott Valley, getting a report of some fog there. Foggy looks like coming in from Curtis Brown saying Happy Foggy Friday. Say that 5 times really fast. Happy Foggy Friday. Happy Foggy. You see, you can say Froggy Friday. There you, of course, see that the foggy conditions here. And there's going to be some of the patchy fog, I do think, especially in parts of Trinity County as well. Love to get some of your reports coming in from you, see what it looks like where you are. There's a look at Main Street Chico on Highway 32. The roads actually look a little wet. And of course, that's mainly just from the overcast skies and the fog that we did see. But looks like the visibility, again, not that bad, much like yesterday. Even out on Highway 99, now it looks like the visibility is down a little bit from yesterday at this time on Highway 99 at Neal Road, but still the lower visibility as a result of that fog. And you can see the visibility looks a little better also in Redding at Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44. We didn't really see a lot of the tail lights, for example. We didn't see a lot of the street lights, for example. It was just the headlights coming in toward the camera. So we are seeing that visibility drop a little bit, get a little bit better, but still low visibility nonetheless. You're going to need to use those low beams, give yourself a little bit of extra time going to work. There's Balls Ferry Road on I-5. We also take you out to Red Bluff. And it looks like the visibility not as bad there. So this is, again, is one of those situations where you've got patchy dense fog, where it's not that bad, and then suddenly you hit some dense fog. All right, let's see what else we got out there. We're going to take a look at some of the other cameras from Caltrans just to show you some of the mountain communities out there. And right now, it looks like around Dunsmuir, I-5 near Mount Shasta, it looks okay there. You know, yesterday at this time, Wairika was pretty foggy. Doesn't look to be that bad this morning, even out towards Anderson Grade, where we saw some fog there yesterday. Even at the base of Buckhorn Summit and Oregon Mountain, it was foggy there. Doesn't look to be as bad out there this morning. We take you to Hatchet Mountain. Four Corners. Looks like a little bit of fog out there this morning, but even Cedar Pass is looking pretty good out there this morning. And this is looking at Shingletown. No fog there, at least based on this camera image here. Also at the North Lassen Park entrance. Looks like things are okay there. There was some fog yesterday morning, even around the Chester area. Not the case this morning. This is also the case for Down Your Summit with the clearing skies. So The forecast visibility, 7 o'clock this morning. For the most part, we've got some dense fog out there. That'll continue at 9 o'clock this morning. We take you into the noon hour. You see how it's already starting to show signs of breaking up, and we do have less in the way of that fog going through the afternoon. Now, we're going to be looking at most likely things clearing out, and it should be a little bit warmer today than it was yesterday as a result. Now, look at the temperatures right now. We're in the mid-40s for the valley. Keep in mind, the highs yesterday were in the mid to upper 40s because of that fog. Temperatures in the mountains are in the 20s and 30s, and along the coast, pretty mild there, with temperatures in the low 50s. So out the door this morning, yes, there's fog for the valley. There's fog in parts of some of those mountain valleys, but most of the fog this morning is in the Sacramento Valley. But of course, other areas in the mountains are going to see some of that fog as well. So there's the approaching storm system off to our west. That is going to hold on to enough strength to bring us more clouds today. That's also going to hold on to enough strength to maybe bring a few isolated sprinkles, especially for the coast, higher elevations, slimmer chances for the valley. Now notice that to the west of that, kind of the center of your screen, that swirling area of low pressure, that's the storm system that's anticipated to be here by tomorrow morning. So let's take a look at Futurecast. So you see how that storm, it's mainly just bringing us the clouds, but you see that? We're seeing some sprinkles along the coast for some of the higher elevations, maybe even the valley through the morning hours. Through the afternoon, there still could be some sprinkles out there in parts of the mountains and along the coast. Is it going to be anything significant? No, not enough to even really put it in the forecast either, because a lot of us will be dry throughout the day, just the overcast skies. And then, yes, by tomorrow morning, there's that first push of the wet weather pattern that's starting this weekend and continuing through next week. The winds today may be a little gusty at times along the coast and central Siskiyou County in Shasta Valley. And in fact, they'll pick up even more along that cold front as it pushes through Saturday morning. You can see the strongest winds will be to the north and west. Shasta Valley, central Siskiyou County, along the coast. Even some of the mountains and exposed ridge tops in the eastern mountains. And maybe a little breezy for the valley, but not that bad. Still have that beach hazard statement until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Sneaker waves, obviously the biggest concern there. So for today, we're talking temperatures. Now again, I need to stress this. The fog can bust my daytime high forecast in a second. I think I was like forecasting at this time yesterday, upper 50s in the valley yesterday, and only got in the mid to upper 40s. Why? Because again, that fog. So the temperatures are 100% dependent on the fog today. What's that fog going to do? Is it going to clear out? Is it not going to clear out? If it does clear out, I think mid-50s. We'll keep it around mid-50s on average. Temperatures for the mountains, 40s, 50s for Trinity County, right around 60. Yeah, that mild air along the coast, of course, from the ocean. That kind of helps to kind of keep those temperatures up a little bit here. So there's the wet weather. Now, of course, we got the fog today, the wet weather for Saturday. And, we're going to go over the timing of a lot of this here through the weekend in particular. And, Saturday, not a complete washout. Sunday, really not a complete washout any of these days, because it's one of these things where it comes through either in the morning or in the afternoon or even sometimes in the overnight hours. It's all just, off and on here for this weekend and through next week. There's the coast, inland, and for Trinity County. Look at the snow levels for Weaverville, Trinity County, right? 6,000 feet or higher. That's for the weekend, that's for Monday, but they are actually expected to maybe drop. For now, I'm putting snow levels around 4,000 feet next Tuesday. That's Christmas Eve. And even 3,500 feet on Thursday, the day after Christmas. Honestly, I may be overdoing it. It may not be quite get that low. We'll see. But I am seeing some indication that we could get that low. And I just wanted to put it that low to give you a heads up that we are seeing snow levels drop for Tuesday and also the day after Christmas. Otherwise, off and on, I'm still seeing dry conditions for your Christmas day. Hey, by the way, just wanted to share some of these photos that were sent in by some of you this morning. Krista sent this from the Redding fog yesterday morning. That's kind of what it looks like out there this morning, most likely. This is also in Redding from Robin Davis. Checking out those, love the Christmas decorations there. Maybe, of course, Rudolph is needed, at least at that point. What is it? Rudolph with your red nose tonight, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Yeah, something like that. All right. Today is Friday. We've got our pet of the week, and today we are going to meet the Vinny. I don't know. I think of Vinny. I think of my cousin Vinny, kind of the New York accent type of thing. All right. So that's what I'm doing there. But what a great dog that I got to meet yesterday. So check it out. Hello everyone, Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. You are watching Pet of the Week. We've got Katrina from Haven Humane Society with us, and we've got Vinny. Hey Vinny, what's going on? Okay, thank you. Muddy paws. Nice. So, Vinny is kind of a youngster, has some energy without a doubt here. And you were mentioning too that he was in a foster home for a while, and you learned a few things about him, right?
Yeah, so he was actually in foster care for about 2 months. He came in with a little bit of an injury on him, which is why I don't know if the camera picks it up, but his fur's kind of growing back from being shaved right here.
Okay.
So he healed up pretty well in his foster home, but they had like young kids in the home, they had cats, and they also had another dog, and they said he did fantastic with everyone. He just wanted to play with everyone. And they also had some chickens that they had outside, like in their own coop, and he wasn't really interested in going after them. He just wanted to sit and watch them. So he's had some really good experience. So we think he would fit into most homes, considering he does well with everybody.
And like say, initially he was kind of, kind of a little wild and crazy, but now he's kind of mellow, and I think kind of getting the vibe here. Right? Oh, got a little scratch. There you go. Get it. So really, probably good for any home with kids, other animals, and if you have chickens, I guess you'd be okay there as well.
Yeah. No, I think he'd be a great fit pretty much anywhere. He does have the puppy energy, so anywhere that's like moderately active, I would say would be a good home for him.
And now that he got his scratch taken care of, he's like, I got more energy again. Did we talk about what kind of dog you think he might be?
We have him as a pit mix, but there's other things in there as well. Oh my gosh. He sees another dog in one of the play yards.
And he has this like hound dog kind of bark. There it is, yes.
He does. He's very vocal when he's excited.
Yeah, very much so.
He'll always tell you what he's thinking.
Well, if you're interested in Vinny or any other animals they have here at Haven Humane Society, he loves to collect them on picnic tables as well. You can give the number at the bottom of your screen a call, and they'll take care of you here at Haven Humane Society. Vinny would love to go home with you. He's barking and saying, I know you want to take me home, so I'm not even going to look at you. All right, so there you go. Well, thank you, and we'll see you next time for Pet of the Week.
My God.
Wasn't that fun? Yeah, kind of interesting bark here that Vinny had here. It did kind of sound like a bit of a hound dog, kind of an interesting bark. But yes, as Katrina was saying from Haven Humane Society, she said he's a very vocal dog when he wants to kind of speak his mind a little bit here. So, great dog. Kind of had that little mix of kind of mellowing out and then some energy, so definitely still had some of that puppy energy left in him. But be sure to give Haven Humane Society a call if you are interested in Vinny or any of the other animals. I'm sure you would make a very happy Christmas to many of those Haven Humane Society dogs that are cooped up and looking for their forever home. Well, what do you say we get ourselves over to our deep dive forecast? And of course, as you know, Coffee with Krueger would not be possible without Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all your favorite slots and table games. So let's get you out there and take a look at, first of all, a fog advisory. Yes, we have a fog advisory out there this morning once again. Now, yesterday, you may have noticed the advisory was allowed to expire at noon. Today, it's expiring a little bit sooner. Why? Because we're anticipating the fog to not stick around as long as it did yesterday. You take a look at the visibility out there right now, and it's patchy, dense fog. Yesterday, we had low visibility from Redding all the way down to Willows. It wasn't as bad, just like this morning, off in the eastern Butte County in the valley. But you can see 2 to even 5 mile visibility for places like Chico and Oroville, and about, say, a half a mile to a mile visibility out in the Redding area. I did get a report out in Fort Jones in Scott Valley, seeing some fog out there this morning. We're also seeing at least reports of some fog out towards Weaverville and Hayfork, but I think it's going to be more in the way of that patchy fog. And again, the same situation here for the valley. It's patchy, dense fog. So just be alert of the fact that you may be running into some of that dense fog during your morning commute. But there you can see in Chico, yes, you can see the fog, but we're really not seeing very low visibility as a result. The visibility is down a bit out towards Highway 99 at Neal Road, but again, nothing terrible. You can see off in the distance some of the lights that are kind of coming on in there. Let's take you out to the Redding area. This is Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44. Now, yesterday when we were looking at this image, you couldn't really see the tail lights. All you could see really in this image were the headlights. We couldn't even see the street lights either. So what that tells us, visibility not as bad this morning, but still, again, the patchy, dense fog is what we're expecting here. Balls Ferry Road, of course, there you can see, looks pretty good where the camera is, but off in the distance, we actually have an area of some of that dense fog I was talking about. Taking out at Red Bluff, you can kind of see off in the distance behind the trees there some of the fog. But again, where we're looking at the camera doesn't look to be as bad in this area of Red Bluff. So once again, we look at that forecast visibility. It's going to be patchy, dense fog through the mid-morning hours. By around midday, we'll probably start to see that begin to break apart, and then more in the way of sunshine going into the second half of the day today. So once again, probably not lingering as long as it did yesterday. Looking at the temperatures, we're in the low to mid 40s in the valley. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s for the higher elevations, and still quite mild out along the coast with temperatures there in the low 50s. So once again, we've got the valley fog this morning. The wet pattern returns this weekend through most of next week. Snow levels will start off fairly high, 5,000 to 6,000 feet as we take you through the weekend and even into early next week. By the way, I've been talking about it all week long. First day of winter is tomorrow. It's the winter solstice. And that is when we have the shortest amount of daylight during the day. That's what the winter solstice does. And then after the winter solstice, we start seeing our days get longer. I don't think I hear anybody complaining about that. So there's this approaching storm system, the clouds as a result. Now, the thing is, we still have high pressure in place. So what's happening is we've got a fairly strong storm system here. It's going to hold on to some of its strength as it does kind of move through the ridge. So we will see the clouds, and we may even see a few sprinkles kind of pushing on through. But the main rain event, at least the first one in a series heading our way, this is what's coming in for your Saturday right here. Look at behind it. That's what's coming in on Sunday. Now I want to illustrate that these storm systems, as we're talking about off and on rain through next week, you see how we just have one batch of moisture after another kind of aimed at Northern California for this weekend, off and on through next week as well. So what this is really illustrating is we've got a series of atmospheric rivers, is, you know, that term that many of you hate, but we've got a series of atmospheric rivers that the storm systems will be tapping into, giving us a good amount of rainfall. So there are going to be times when we've got some heavy rainfall and steady rain, but we're not looking at long stretches of that steady rain. We're not seeing a stretch of all day long or several days long. So the potential for flooding, mudslides, and debris flows are going to be slimmer. So I want to show you this. You see these spikes here? These are separate atmospheric river events. So as you can see here, as we kind of see a spike here, but then another drop. So we see breaks between these short periods of atmospheric river events, and that's why they shouldn't have a huge impact. You can see here also, again, just for those of you that are new to this, you may not know this, but there are 5 different scales of atmospheric rivers, the 5 being the strongest, having the biggest impact, 1 being the weakest, having the lowest impact. Typically, when we're in this category, the blue, that's just beneficial rainfall, nothing to be concerned about. As we start getting into the green, sometimes you start feeling impacts, form of some gusty winds, also maybe, especially if it's a longer period of rain, then you're talking about the potential for some localized flooding. And I will say this, as we start kind of progressing into time, early next week into next week, since we are going to start eventually see the ground get more saturated, some of these longer stretches of rain could bring the potential for some localized flooding. Nothing terribly concerned about at this point, but something that I will be watching going over the next several days. Hey, by the way, the Storm Prediction Center is including a chance for thunderstorms along the coast here for tomorrow in Del Norte County on Sunday. I'm not expecting there to be a lot of thunderstorm activity here, but if you live on the coast, don't be surprised if you hear a rumble of thunder or two. Now again, remember I was saying that storm system's pushing through the ridge today. You see this? This is basically sprinkles. This is the storm system breaking apart as it moves on shore and moves through that ridge. And that continues even into this afternoon. I do expect to see some clearing tonight, and then there's that first push of moisture. So 5 a.m. on Saturday, you've got the rain for the valley westward, and then of course still dry early tomorrow morning for Modoc County and the eastern mountains. That will slowly push to the east. You can see that stream of moisture. This is moisture associated with an atmospheric river. Snow levels fairly high, 5,000 to 6,000 feet. So look at I-5. It's all in the form of rain, not snow. Then we start to see more snow off to the east, and the reason being, you've got higher elevations here. And this is where we could see the potential for some chain requirements over some of the higher mountain passes for your Saturday afternoon east of I-5. So that's something you got to be on the lookout for. But you see how things are starting to kind of quiet down? And I'm expecting that by around mid-afternoon tomorrow, most of the rain and snow is gone. We're dry Saturday evening, Saturday night. Now, it looks like there may be a weak disturbance pushing through that has enough moisture to maybe squeeze out a few light showers late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Snow levels once again still fairly high. But we're going to have to really wait until Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening before round 2 comes in. This also associated with a different atmospheric river. That's the moisture source that we're looking at here as we go into Sunday evening, Sunday night, and even into Monday morning. So the amount of rainfall we expect through 5 p.m. on Sunday could reach up to a ½ an inch to even upwards of an inch for parts of the valley. Looks like that'll be the case also for the north coast, and obviously less rainfall heading up to the north and east. Snow, yes, we're seeing it above 5,000 to 6,000 feet, but notice we're not picking up on any accumulating snow over any of the even the higher mountain communities such as Chester or El Turris or even Susanville. We're seeing the snow accumulate on those higher mountain regions. So the mountaintops, we'll be looking at a lot of that. So Mount Shasta, the mountain, right? Lassen Peak, right? Trinity Alps, Marble Mountains, yes. Out towards the Warner Mountains, out towards eastern Modoc County, yeah, you're seeing snow kind of pile up there. And we take a look at Futurecast. Look at that. I mean, of course, we're just going to stop through time here and just show you the timing. And quite honestly, the timing and intensity of this has been fairly consistent for both the American forecast model that we're looking at here and even the European forecast model. So it looks like Saturday, right? The first half of the day, second half of the day, you saw it was drier. Then really a bit of a break through the first half of the day on Sunday. Then by Sunday evening, Sunday night, the next round of rain, and that continues into Monday morning. Maybe a bit of a break for the first half of the day for the second half of the day on Monday. Then by Monday night into Tuesday, we've actually got a trough moving through. You see this dip in these lines? That's a trough of low pressure that typically allows cooler air to pool down from the north. So when we're talking about snow levels 5,000 to even 6,000 feet for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, they could lower to as low as 4,000 feet by Tuesday. Unfortunately, the timing, that's not great, right? Because many of you might be traveling in the mountains Christmas Eve to get to your destination, and that may have an impact on some of your mountain travel. Now, as of right now, I'm still consistently seeing dry conditions for your Christmas Day, next Wednesday, and then by Christmas night into the day after Christmas, more wet weather. I'm expecting, as this trough right here, we have a trough, that could bring snow levels maybe even a little bit lower. Now, I may be overdoing it, dropping them down to as low as 3,500 feet, but I just want to put it out there that if you have to travel in the mountains, I need you to pay attention to what's going on with those conditions here, because it could potentially impact your mountain travel. And of course, that's something I'll be monitoring through next week. But there you can see that's next Thursday. So we're going out over a week out here. So this will most likely change as we go through next week, but you get the idea. One storm after another, giving us more rain, chances for rain off and on through next week. And then, of course, that continues possibly even into the weekend after Christmas. So how much rain can we expect long range, at least through Thursday? We're looking at about 3 to 5 inches for the valley and 5 to 7 inches along the coast. Is this a lot of rainfall? Sure, it is, but it's not all happening at once. It's going to be in a long stretch. So we do have recovery in between these storm systems, allowing us to see a break. But as I mentioned, sometimes as we see these off and on rain showers, sometimes it gets heavy at times. And eventually, you think of the ground like a sponge. At first, there's plenty of room for the water to get into that sponge and it doesn't oversaturate. Eventually, though, that sponge is totally filled with water and it has nowhere to go but out. And that's what can happen to the ground. It can get oversaturated. So eventually, even though we're seeing these breaks, it might be oversaturated and you might start to see rises in some of the creeks and streams, maybe some localized flooding. And as I mentioned, I think the winds, we'll get into the winds here in just a bit. But take a look at the precipitation outlook here, as it does look to be wetter than normal as we go into through the end of the month. And we're also looking at warmer than normal conditions. Now, I want to show you the ski report here. And you know, the thing is, I'm not getting very updated information. This is the latest data coming in from the Mount Shasta Ski Park at about 60 inches from the summit. And of course, runs open at about 44. Now, here's what I'm going to say about the ski park. I am a bit concerned as we go through the weekend. We're talking snow levels around 5,000 to 6,000 feet and maybe even higher than that in some cases. What I'm concerned about for the ski park is there may be points in time for Saturday, Sunday, maybe even Monday where we've got the snow levels above the ski park, meaning it could at some times be in the form of only rain. Only rain on top of snow melts it. Now, I don't think that's going to melt all of the snow, but we may lose some of the snow over the weekend from some of the rain that we do see Saturday, Sunday. That being said, there are going to be points in time where we see kind of a slushy snow and all snow, and we may be able to put more snow on top of that. So it just depends. But just be aware of that if you're heading out to the ski park over the weekend. There may be points in time where you're dealing with just rain. And kind of that sleety rain, right? So let's take a look at what the forecast models are projecting through Sunday. Lower part of the park, about 6 inches, about double that as you head to the higher parts of the park. So yes, I do think we are going to see some snow at the ski park, just not probably as much as we'd probably like to see, right? So taking a look at the forecast winds now, we are seeing those gusty winds for central Siskiyou County and a little breezy at times along the coast. But the main event for the winds will be late tonight, early tomorrow morning as that main cold front's passing through. So look at Siskiyou County, look at central Siskiyou County, look at the mountains east of the valley, look at the coast. We're seeing gusty winds, 30, maybe even close to 40 miles per hour. Could we see that potential for power outages? It's not out of the question. We kind of get to that threshold of about 40 miles per hour. That's when we start seeing typically more power outages. By noon on Saturday, the winds are dying down for the coast. Not so much for Siskiyou County. Gusty winds off to the east, still a bit breezy for the valley. Saturday, 5 p.m., as we saw with Futurecast, we're not seeing any more rain at this point. And of course, the storm system is pretty much gone at this point. So the wind should die down Saturday afternoon, but wouldn't you know, with the approaching system coming in on Sunday, we're probably going to see those winds pick up, especially for the coast and central Siskiyou County here through the day on Sunday. Not so bad for the valley. You can see 5 to 10 miles per hour for the most part, maybe a little breezy off to the east. So here's your wave heights. Today, not so bad, but there still is a small craft advisory through this afternoon. I'm anticipating those wave heights to increase though for Saturday. We're probably going to go from a small craft advisory to a hazardous seas watch. It's something we'll have to kind of watch here. But there you can see the beach hazard statement still until about 3 o'clock today. Sneaker waves, you know what those are. You got to be aware of that here if you're going to be on the beach. Here's a marine forecast for your Friday. South winds at 15 to 20 knots. Waves from the south at 6 feet at 7 seconds, and from the west at 5 feet at about 11 seconds. There's that small craft advisory I was talking about. All right, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast, and we got those temperatures, dropping. Snow level still fairly high, around 6,000 feet. There it is dropping on Tuesday, dropping even more for the day after Christmas. Town to the south, look for a high of 55 for High and Palm, 49 degrees for Wildwood, and 56 degrees in Ruth. Here's your North Coast neighborhood forecast. Down to the south, temperatures low 60s along the Highway 101 corridor. Shelter Cove, about 59 degrees, 64 in Ferndale and Hydesville, a high of about 63 degrees. Let's take you up north with Trinidad, about 61, 63 for Blue Lake, and 57 degrees in Willow Creek. Even farther to the north, look for a high of 62 for Smith River, 58 for Gas Key, and Klamath, about 61 degrees. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, temperatures mid to upper 40s along the Highway 96 corridor, along I-5, upper 40s for your daytime highs. And for Scott Valley, temperatures mid to upper 40s, 46 degrees out in Etna, 46 for Callahan, and Fort Jones about 48 degrees. Central, eastern Siskiyou County, we are looking at temperature of 44 for Weed, 46 for Mount Shasta City, and Dunsmuir, about 47 degrees. And your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, upper 40s to low 50s, and of course you can see about 51 degrees for Alturas, Newell about 51, and Aden, a high of about 50. Your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, you can see Montgomery Creek about 57, but cooler in Boerne with a high of about 48. We could see some of that morning frost for places like Boerne. Otherwise, we are seeing, looks like snow levels fairly high for Saturday and through Tuesday. Wednesday, Christmas Day, you're dry, and then of course more rain and snow for your Thursday. There's your Lake Almanor and Lassen Park. Well, of course, around the perimeter of the lake, we're in the mid to upper 40s, although Chester a little bit warmer, at about 50 for your daytime high. We take it to the south with Paradise, a high of 59, but 48 in Greenville, and 47 degrees for your daytime high in Janesville. Susanville, about 45. Here's your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamuth Painting right there. Of course, temperatures in the low to mid 50s. Now, as I mentioned earlier, these temperatures in the Valley will depend on when that fog decides to burn off. So I'm just kind of broad brushing here at about mid 50s, give or take, just depending on, again, what that fog decides to do today. There's your 7-day outlook for Redding. First day of winter is on Saturday. Shortest day of the year. Showers, especially the first half of the day. Second half of the day, not so bad. And then, of course, off and on rain for Sunday, Monday, all the way through Thursday of next week. And, of course, Christmas Day still looks like it will be dry for your Christmas Day. So it looks like we have just that wet weather pattern really kind of kicking itself on in here as we take you into the weekend through next week as well. Looks like some of the regulars are checking in this morning. We got Catherine Schmidt saying good morning. My head is still in the fog this morning. Gotta love that. She's saying all day yesterday, too. Cold and wet in the Castle area at about 3,200 feet. Kind of covers me here. Maybe I should sit up straight. There we go. We also have Tracy Sackett saying, you know, it's funny, when I was out delivering yesterday, MacArthur, Fall River, and Castle were really foggy, but Hat Creek and Old Station were sunny. You know, that's the thing. Let's see here, driving MacArthur, Fall River, and Castle. Hat Creek, Old Station. I think those are higher elevations, and as a result, you are above the fog. I'd be willing to guess that maybe as you're kind of maybe going down some of those passes, you may have seen some of that fog kind of below you. Very cool. I think it's a beautiful sight when you can kind of get that going. So she, of course, Tracy also saying good morning. We've also got Victoria saying Merry Christmas. What a sassy picture there. Love it, Victoria. And of course, Merry Christmas to you as well. Merry Christmas to you all. Of course, it is almost the weekend. And I'm going to be filling in for Chase tomorrow morning and possibly even into the afternoon. We'll see. He's feeling a little under the weather, if you will. So we're just going to play it safe, and I'm going to fill in for him tomorrow morning, and we'll see how he feels for the afternoon and evening update. If not, you will see me even on Saturday, but hopefully he'll be back and better, and things will be looking better for us on Sunday. But I want to thank everyone for checking in this morning. Even though I am working tomorrow morning, I will not be doing another Coffee with Krueger. Give myself a little bit of a break from that, but I will be giving you morning update, which will be available no later than 6 a.m. Sometimes it can be available sooner than that. And of course, we'll have your afternoon and evening update. And boy, by that time, we're talking about rain entering the picture as well. So there will be something to talk about as we go into the weekend as well. Well, that's going to do it for us this morning. We're going to get some of that music started here for you this morning, and we're going to take a look at some of the fog that we're seeing across the area. In the meantime, have yourselves a great Friday and an even better weekend. We'll see you throughout the day with my latest updates throughout the afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. with my latest forecast update. Have a great day and a great weekend.